When I was 60, I came within days of losing my home. I remember standing in my living room, a foreclosure notice trembling between my fingertips. My heart felt like it had crashed into my stomach. I'd worked my entire life, raised kids, juggled multiple jobs, saved where I thought I could, but somehow, money seemed to disappear faster than I earned it. Have you ever felt that dread, wondering if all you've built might slip through your hands? It took me 65 years, and nearly losing the roof over my head, to realize that without proper money habits, everything else in life is at risk. My name is Linda, and in the next 15 minutes, I want to share 5 lessons that finally helped me take charge of my finances. These aren't get-rich-quick schemes. They're humble, often overlooked steps that rescued me from the brink of disaster. If you've ever worried about covering monthly bills on a fixed income, or felt that pit in your stomach when a surprise expense hits, please stay with me. Because no matter your age, it's never too late to shape a more secure financial future. Take a brief moment to recall if you faced a money crisis before, maybe a sudden medical bill or a looming mortgage payment. Whisper to yourself, "I've been there," if that feeling sounds all too familiar. You're not alone, and I'm here to share what took me decades to learn, so you don't have to wait as long as I did. Financial security is more than just a comfortable bank balance, it's about peace of mind. According to AARP, almost half of older Americans feel financially insecure, and that number often rises in times of inflation or economic uncertainty. When you live on a fixed income or rely on Social Security, unexpected events like a medical emergency or a spike in utility bills can tip the scales from "just getting by" to "I'm drowning in debt." In my early 60s, I assumed things would simply fall into place. I pictured a relaxing retirement, maybe traveling to see the grandkids, or buying small treats for myself. But illusions shatter quickly when real life knocks at your door, like it did with my foreclosure notice. If any part of you wonders how to juggle healthcare costs, property taxes, or the daily price of groceries without losing sleep, you're in the right place. Today, we'll explore how a few foundational steps can guard you from those heart-stopping money emergencies. My journey turned around the day I forced myself to log every expense, yes, every single one. I grabbed a spiral notebook and labeled 2 columns, income and outflow. I wrote down my pension check amount, any small gifts or side earnings, and then listed every dollar I spent. Groceries, utilities, gasoline, and then those sneaky expenses, a $4 coffee here, a $10 craft item there, or a $20 lunch outing on weekends. Have you ever tried writing it all down for just a week? If you do, you might be amazed, and slightly horrified, at where your money trickles away. At first, I felt overwhelmed, almost embarrassed, seeing how much I spent on seemingly trivial things. But that honesty was freeing. I saw patterns, realized I could trim certain habits without drastically changing my life. For instance, I spotted my biggest leak was dining out when I felt too tired to cook. So I started meal prepping simple meals on Sundays. It didn't take much more effort, but it cut my weekly restaurant bill nearly in half. A budget isn't about denying yourself joy, it's about shining a flashlight on your spending so you can be deliberate about it. Think about one small habit you could adjust if you tracked your spending for a week or 2. Even this first step can be life-changing. It's easy to say, "I'll save later," but emergencies never wait. I learned this the hard way when my hot water heater failed in the dead of winter. The repair bill stung, and at that moment, I only had about $50 in my checking account. I remember scrambling for a quick fix, considering a high-interest loan that would have only made matters worse. After narrowly avoiding foreclosure as well, I promised myself I'd start setting aside at least $10 or $20 each week into a separate account. You might wonder, will that make a difference? Let me tell you, those tiny sums add up over months, then years. Picture yourself not panicking next time your car needs new tires or your air conditioner quits in July. An emergency fund is like carrying an umbrella. It might stay folded up most of the time, but when that sudden storm hits, you'll be relieved to have it. If you're thinking, "I barely have enough to cover necessities," try to put away even $5 or $10. The act of saving regularly, no matter how small, can shift your mindset from desperation to empowerment. And if you already have a cushion, consider adding a little more when you can. Every bit counts. Credit cards felt magical in my 50s. I'd swipe them for groceries, a quick dinner out, maybe a gift for my grandchild, telling myself I deserved a break. But the harsh truth is that credit card interest is like a silent siphon on your bank account. Have you checked your APR lately? Some cards charge 20% or more, meaning if you only pay the minimum each month, you could be in debt for years. I recall flipping open my statement to see that after paying the minimum, my principal dropped by mere cents. It was a wake-up call similar to that foreclosure notice. If you're juggling multiple debts, a good strategy is to knock out the highest interest one first or tackle the smallest balance for a quick win, whichever motivates you more. And here's a tip that changed my life. I picked up the phone and called my credit card company. I explained I was a loyal customer, but struggling with the rate. They actually lowered it by a couple of percentage points. It doesn't always work, but you'd be surprised how many lenders are willing to negotiate. Think about giving it a try. One 10-minute call could save you months or years of debt payments. Reducing debt is like casting off a heavy anchor that's been weighing you down. Isn't the idea of a lighter financial load worth exploring? Let me introduce you to my friend Barbara, who found herself in a deep financial hole at 62. A sudden surgery left her with thousands in medical bills. She already had credit card balances and a modest income that barely stretched to cover rent and utilities. Sound familiar to anyone? Barbara felt cornered, but she refused to give up. Here's what she did. She sold her second car, which she only used sporadically, used that lump sum to pay down the high-interest card first, and then downsized her apartment to lower her monthly rent. The money she freed up each month went straight to her remaining credit card bills, accelerating her debt payments. Within 3 years, she had cleared her credit card balances, built a tiny emergency fund, and felt genuinely hopeful. She wasn't suddenly wealthy, but she slept better knowing a crisis wouldn't send her finances into freefall. Think about Barbara's courage. Are there assets or lifestyle choices you could adjust to redirect cash toward your money goals? Maybe it's time for a bold step, however small. I often hear older adults say, "Isn't it too late for me to invest?" Or, "I'm on a fixed income, I can't earn more." Let me tell you, no matter your age, there's a world of modest, lower-risk investments that can at least keep your money safe from inflation. Certificates of deposit, treasury bonds, or even a reputable money market account can protect your savings better than leaving it in a zero-interest checking account. If you have a knack for anything, a craft, tutoring skill, or cooking specialty, why not turn that into a side income? Barbara started knitting scarves and listing them online. She didn't become a millionaire, but every month she earned enough to cover her cell phone bill or add a bit more to her emergency fund. Picture a hobby you enjoy: painting, baking, even making holiday ornaments. Could you sell them at a local market or through a website? Perhaps the idea feels daunting, but remember, each extra dollar you earn is another layer of financial security. It's not about chasing big profits, it's about creating stability and letting you breathe easier when bills come around. For the longest time, I felt embarrassed talking about my finances, like admitting I didn't have it all together was a personal failing. But after hearing about free counseling at my local senior center, I decided to swallow my pride and go. The counselor helped me reorganize my budget, suggested a loan consolidation to reduce my monthly payments, and even pointed me toward an online course about basic investing for seniors. That single conversation freed up a couple $100s a month. Imagine the difference that could make for you. It's okay to ask for help. Whether it's a workshop at the library, a financial advisor, or even a trusted friend who's savvy with money, an outside perspective might spot opportunities or mistakes you've overlooked. Keep learning. There's no shame in picking up a book on budgeting or following a YouTube channel focused on senior finance. Each nugget of knowledge can prevent you from repeating old mistakes or falling for scams. If you've ever considered seeking a pro's advice, remember, you have everything to gain, like financial clarity, and nothing to lose except maybe your anxiety. Let's recap the 5 lessons that took me 65 years to discover. Track your spending and create a budget. Build an emergency fund. Control your debt. Find ways to invest and increase income. Seek professional advice and keep learning. They sound straightforward, but they rescued me from near foreclosure and daily stress over bills. Budgeting gave me clarity on where my dollars vanished. An emergency fund acted as a safety net when life threw curveballs. Tackling debt freed me from endless interest. Exploring small investments or side earnings helped me keep pace with inflation. And seeking professional help introduced new strategies I'd never have found alone. Now, think about which lesson you might put into action first. Is it starting a budget? Or maybe negotiating with your credit card company? Let that idea settle in your mind. Committing to even one step can nudge your finances in a better direction. Would you be willing to pick one lesson to explore this week? There's real power in just saying, yes, I will do it. Before we wrap up, please remember these tips are drawn from my personal journey, not from a licensed financial advisor. Everyone's situation differs. If you're dealing with complex issues, like extensive medical debt or a riskier investment scenario, consult a certified professional who can tailor a plan for you. But let me emphasize, it's never too late to change course. I was 60 when my house was moments away from foreclosure, and I was 65 by the time I finally felt in control of my money. If this video has encouraged or informed you, please take a moment to show your support, hit the like button, subscribe, or share it with a friend who might be struggling with finances. We can't keep these lessons to ourselves, someone else might be on the brink, just as I was. Thank you for spending these 15 minutes with me. My hope is that you'll walk away with a renewed sense of power over your financial future. Let's break the cycle of money fears, together. As you go about your day, maybe whisper to yourself, I can do this. Because you absolutely can.